Hi, let's keep talking about the experience of death in the south of Italy where I live. This obsession with death is widespread throughout the south of Italy. It seems that men and women, having reached a certain age, begin to exorcise the finis vitae by venerating their extinct loved ones, and impetrating from them all sorts of protection, so that they postpone that as much as possible, and with that even the disastrous fate that for them first led them to the afterlife. Thus extinct relatives and strangers bother every day, beheaded saints and tortured martyrs, sacrificed idols and murdered patriots, so that life in the world of survivors sprouts more radiant and invincible. For a long time I myself remained tied to these atavistic bonds. Then I realized that the only thing the dead would ask us, if they could, would be to forget them, and finally let them go into the sentient void that has englobed them, after an existence of hardships. So I stopped praying for my unknown old woman, for my close friend who died in prison, and for all the souls of the relatives who over the years have taken the path of heaven. Not entirely, though. A part of us is always linked to the death of those who have been dear to us. An eternal rest is due to all tormented souls, to respect for the liberating fate that awaits them. Well, let's talk now about the memories in the dark, about my memories from those times. Even when we finally, me and my family and me, thanks to my mother's relentless pressures, moved into a new apartment all to ourselves, less than a kilometer from our grandparents, things didn't improve much. My father was determined not to cut the umbilical cord with his mother. My grandmother was always present, almost daily, at our house, and my mother more and more embittered towards her own new family and that marriage that was withering from all set off. I was in the middle, but almost no one cared about me anymore. I was a kind of sad doll. My grandmother's same and spite had not yet fallen asleep on me. Unwittingly searching for my own real mother. The first episodes I remember inside the new house see me had me in the evening, alone in the middle of the long corridor that in, it divided my house into two halves, almost in the dark, where it were it not for the lights of the street lamps that filtered through the curtains. My mother was not there, was felt only 3 years old, with my newborn brother who slept in his crib. It was as if I had woken up from a short sleep, immediately realizing that I was alone. The house was immersed in silence. The French doors leading onto the balcony were closed, and I dragged myself there barefoot, shaken by shivers of panic and the first sobs. Outside there was life. The old woman across the street showed me to her friends as a sort of attraction squashed against the glass. "Come, come here, beautiful child," she said, but I just wanted my mom to come get me. I don't know how long I was there crying desperate. At one point the front door opened and my mother entered. Who hadn't she hadn't evidently been out running errands, believing I hadn't woken up before she arrived. The point is not it was just an accident. You will have consoled yourself of the anguish you felt once you felt safe. The fact is that my mother's quick hug, her comforting words, a subtle ridicule for letting myself go to fear, you, a 3-year-old little man, weren't enough to make me forget the trauma, like the one that followed a few years later. My mom and my little brother had gone to the doctor, leaving me alone with my third brother. I must have been 7. He was not even 1. Once again I panicked to see that she was beginning to prolong her absence. I washed my face for the first time by myself and went out into the street, alone, crying. I groped in the direction of what I thought was the doctor's office, thankfully less than 200 meters away. My mother met me right at the entrance to the office, which was still crowded at the time. She reproached me for having left the last brother alone, and in the end she had to take me home without having seen the doctor. Trivial episodes, of course, but which in some way marked the life of the man I would have become. Somewhere in the dark streets of this nameless, joyless and realityless country, a crying child gropes in search of someone who won't abandon him. Let's see now a possible analysis of all these episodes of my life as a child. Well, my mother has always protested that she was a good mother to me, and above all to your older 2 brothers. They love me as I deserve, she always said to me. Said to me. So she said she was a good mother to me, who and I accused her of always being selfish and not giving me enough affection. I don't remember a single hug from her, not a word of comfort in my long periods of depression. She replied that it was my fault, that I didn't feel her love or her affection. The reason was that I was born without sensitivity, according to her, without feeling affection, and without rewarding those who loved me for the care they gave me. These are the reproaches of an affective mother. always blaming someone, even if this someone by nature has become her own victim. I've always wondered the reason for the hardness of heart of that woman, the impediments that hindered her from giving affection to her firstborn. I'm not speaking for my two brothers, whom I have never really known. A cornerstone of this sketchy analysis is certainly her unhappiness as a peasant and ignorant girl, dreaming of a classic Prince Charming, who would come and tear her away from that degraded environment in which she had grown up, from a possessive and violent father, and from a mother, slave to conveniences and a morality bordering on bigotry. If I had been born today, I often heard myself repeat as a boy, I would never have made the mistake of getting married. So she said, when I was a boy, that if she had been born in this time, she would never have made the mistake of getting married. She would have studied, she would have found a job, she would have been happy. Let's continue on this matter in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.